Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all the folks in chambers today. We have a few people here today. That's good. Uh, April 16th, 2026. It's 12:07 p.m. This is our new time for the Recycled Water Committee on Thursday. It's going to be Fridays, actually, but today is Thursday. Um, and I'm calling this meeting to order. We'll take a roll call. Go ahead.
Castroville,
Here.
Monterey,
Here.
Veranda,
Here.
Pacific Grove,
Here.
Marina Coast. We have a quorum.
All right, so we will proceed. We got four members of the committee. We're on item 3, additions to the agenda. Mr. Shooter, do you have any additions to the agenda?
No additions.
Okay, any committee members have additions to the agenda? Seeing none, move on to approval of the agenda.
Move approval. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Chair Williamson, second by Member Stefani. We'll take a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll take the agenda as stated. We'll move on to item 5, public comments. These are general public comments not appearing in item 6, the business items, on matters not appearing in item 6. Does anyone have such a comment at this time in chambers or online? Seeing none, go ahead and close general public comment. Bring it back to the board for item 6, business items. And we have item A, consider approval of the Recycled Water Committee minutes of March 19th, 2026. So I'll entertain a motion on the minutes.
Approved. Second.
We have a motion by Habino, second by Stefani. Any member of the public wish to comment on our minutes? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. The minutes are approved. And we will go on to item 6B. It's an update on capital improvement projects for fiscal year 26-27. And I believe our Director of Engineering is going to take this item.
All right.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, committee members. I'm your Director of Engineering, Matt Thompson. I'm here to present capital improvement projects we have in the proposed budget for the next fiscal year. In summary, we have 6 major projects with a combined total projected expenditure of $48.8 million for fiscal year 27. Next slide, please, Jai. Since the capital improvement program is such a major part of our budget and the recent wastewater rate study, I'd like to start by explaining how we establish and prioritize the capital improvement projects and then carefully schedule the projects to minimize impact on wastewater rates. We are very deliberate in how we identify new projects to be added. We work closely with operations and maintenance staff to identify when equipment requires rehabilitation or replacement. We pay attention to trends and regulations and use our professional judgment to determine when upgrades are needed. We bring in outside experts when needed to help us prepare master plans and guide our decisions. After we identify projects, we prepare cost estimates for each project. These estimates are a starting point for the capital improvement program budget. When we progress through design and bidding of each project, we gain more certainty about what the projects will actually cost, and then incorporate the refined costs into the capital improvement program budget through regular updates. When we schedule projects for the future, we escalate the project costs to account for inflation. That way we can help ensure the agency's revenues are sufficient to actually complete the project at the appropriate time. For larger upgrade projects where multiple solutions are available, we complete a quadruple bottom line analysis before we select a solution. We analyze and score both non-economic and economic criteria for a short list of feasible alternatives. We generally select the alternative with the lowest life cycle cost. This helps ensure the project will have the least impact on our wastewater customers for the long life of the facility. We strive to be proactive and plan well into the future so we can take time needed to carefully deliver quality projects. There are many benefits to being proactive. One of which is it helps Monterey One Water to compete for limited available grant funding. Next slide, please, Shai. There's a lot of information on this slide. I wouldn't expect you to read it all. Helps to illustrate, I'm sure you're aware that Monterey One Water has an aging wastewater system with many needs. So you might wonder how we prioritize the many projects. Here's a summary list of the many projects we have planned for the next 10 years, with the projects listed in priority order. Our prioritization process is based on a risk scoring system combined with our best professional judgment. We assess the probability that a piece of infrastructure will fail and the consequences if it fails to establish a risk score. The higher the risk score, generally the sooner the project is scheduled for completion. This is why we have projects such as the Monterey and Seaside pump stations upgrades currently under construction. Projects that have a lower risk score are generally scheduled further out into the planning horizon. We also look at available funding opportunities when scheduling projects. For example, federal funding is currently available for our renewable energy and electrical reliability projects. So we decided to expedite those projects to take advantage of the funding. Next slide, Chai, please. Some of our projects are very large and expensive, so we carefully schedule the work to spread the costs over time, even out annual expenditures, and allow time to secure financing. This helps minimize the need for drastic changes to wastewater rates. The upgrade of the regional treatment plant is a good example. That's the line shown here in, looks like orange or red. We will not likely begin final design and construction of that project until likely 2033, but it is important for us to start now with early steps such as a master plan and preliminary engineering, so we can begin to budget for the project and pursue low interest financing. We've recently completed the master plan, and I'm going to be presenting that to the full board on April 27th. We currently have 42 projects listed in the 15-year capital improvement program. For the sake of organization and division of the work, I have established 4 categories of capital projects. The renewable energy and electrical reliability projects shown in green are already in progress. We're striving to complete all of them by the middle of 2029. We're just getting started on design of the solids handling and resource recovery improvements, which is that line shown here in blue. That is a very large project that will result in a complete upgrade of the solids handling part of the regional treatment plant. So it will continue through 2031. I already talked about the orange line there, the regional treatment plant upgrade. The last line shown here in gray are the conveyance system improvements. We'll be working essentially continuously on rehabilitation and upgrade of the various pumping stations and pipelines that deliver wastewater to the regional treatment plant. Next slide, please. All right, here's an aerial overview of the regional treatment plant, showing where these categories of projects are located. First in green, the renewable energy and electrical reliability projects are generally located in the back corner of the plant, adjacent to our anaerobic digesters and where power comes in from PG&E. The solids handling and resource recovery improvements are going to be in the back part of the regional treatment plant, in and around the existing sludge drying beds. And the big one, the regional treatment plant, that's essentially an upgrade of the biological treatment process at the regional treatment plant. That's in the middle of the facility there. Next slide, please. All right, now focusing in more on next fiscal year, here's a summary of the individual projects we have in progress or will begin next fiscal year. These are just the projects funded by the wastewater fund. We have a few other capital projects not listed here that are funded by other sources. All of these are major multi-year projects that will have additional expenditures in the years ahead. I gave you a full update on the renewable energy improvements back in January. That project includes rehabilitation, of our anaerobic digesters, a new system to upgrade our biogas to renewable natural gas for injection into PG&E's pipeline, new linear generators to efficiently produce clean electrical power, and a new digester heating system. We're on track to advertise the Renewable Energy Improvements Project for bids in May, with the goal to begin construction this fall. Our project manager on that particular project is Jerry Valadeo. He's with us here today in case you have any detailed questions about that particular project. All right, the second project, the regional treatment plant electrical upgrade and interconnection with Salinas Valley Reclamation Project and the Advanced Water Purification Facility, that will remain under construction for another 2.5 years. The project will greatly improve electrical reliability at all 3 treatment facilities, enable us to purchase more renewable energy from regen, and reduce our dependence on PG&E electrical power. Our project manager on the RTP electrical upgrade is Jennifer Gonzalez. She's also with me here this afternoon if you have questions about that project. All right, the third project, the solids handling and resource recovery improvements, will continue in design through the end of next fiscal year. That project includes replacing our old sludge dewatering equipment with new centrifuges and a drying process to greatly reduce the volume and weight of biosolids that requires offsite disposal. We're aiming to give you a full update on that project in July or August. Our project manager in the lead on that project is Kota Nishiguchi. He had a conflict. He had a meeting at this time, so he's not available, but I'd be happy to answer any questions about that project. All right, number 4, the preliminary engineering for the regional treatment plant upgrade. It's a project that I would like to begin in the fall. This will pick up where our master plan ended. This project will flesh out the regional treatment plant upgrade a little more so we can begin environmental review and the lengthy process of pursuing low interest state financing. Don't currently have a project manager assigned to that. I'd be happy to answer any questions about that one. All right, number 5, the Coral Street Pump Station upgrade is a project to relocate the electrical system for a shoreline pump station in Pacific Grove that is susceptible to flooding when we have storm surge conditions. The project is funded by grants through Congressman Panetta's office and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We have a need to certify the environmental document and move ahead with final design next fiscal year. We're working towards bringing that project to you with some recommended action in July. And just last evening, we had a productive study session with the City of Pacific Grove City Council and public. Project manager on that project is Jennifer Gonzalez, and again, she can answer questions. All right, lastly, number 6, the Monterey and Seaside pump stations upgrades is one large project to replace and upgrade the mechanical and electrical systems at 2 of our largest sewage pump stations. This will greatly improve reliability and add a lot of life to those pump stations. Construction of that project will continue all of next fiscal year. And our project manager on that particular project is Tom Corredas, who is here and can answer your questions. All right, we estimate these 6 major projects will have a combined total expenditure of $48.8 million next fiscal year. All right, next slide, please. We anticipate a similar level of capital spending in the years ahead. Here's a look at our spending projections for the next 10 years, broken down into those same 4 categories I described earlier. You can see we have a healthy mix of spending in the first 5 years. Then, after we complete the renewable energy, electrical reliability, and solids handling projects, I anticipate our spending on the regional treatment plant upgrade will ramp up in years 8, 9, and 10. We have incorporated this 10-year projection into the recent wastewater rates study. Assuming we are successful in the upcoming public process to adjust wastewater rates, Monterey One Water should have sufficient revenue to support this level of capital spending. And before I ask for your questions, I want to introduce one person while I'm up here. We've recently added, if you could just stand up, Courtney, and wave. This is Courtney McAvoy. Courtney is our new contracts administrator in the engineering department. In order to deliver these projects, we're going to be letting a lot of contracts. Professional engineering firms, professional third-party construction management services, and of course, contractors. Spending a lot of money. It's going to be very important that we be super organized and detail-oriented and keep all of that straight. And so I'm very grateful to have Courtney on board to help us in that role. Courtney lives up in Santa Cruz County, comes to us from Soquel Creek Water District. So please introduce yourself when you have a moment. All right. Next slide, please.
Actually, hey, Matt, before we leave this one,
Yes.
let me go back. So this is in reference to the action yesterday in terms of looking at the rates and why we're doing it. Obviously, as Matt has alluded to, we have a number of projects going on, solids, electrical, renewable energy, conveyance. But if you look at the orange bars for the next 10 years, that's about $240 million current estimates for that treatment plant. So it's critical at being that we're at the end of the useful life of many of these facilities to continue, because it's still a decade before we get that done. But it's a huge expenditure and investment into the infrastructure for many years to come. And I think I love this graph just because it shows the magnitude of what they are trying to do.
All right, I have more detailed information about the projects I summarized, if you have questions about them, but in the interest of time, I'm going to stop here and ask if you have any questions. This item is really for information only. We're not asking you to take any action at this time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee questions? Yes, Chair Williamson.
So first of all, really great presentation. I appreciate how you spoke to the values and the standards in which is used to help drive the prioritization of the various projects. It's needed because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of funding that's going to be spent. So just kudos to you and your team for the work that's gone into this. Truly appreciate it. I brought this up before in the past, and I know that there's some efforts to do this based off of some projects, but as it relates to all of our capital projects, how are we setting funding aside once a project is complete to ensure that we're not continuing to kind of kick the can down the road, if you will, and trying to figure out last minute, like, how are we going to fund things, right? Like, how are we setting up a funding mechanism so that we're setting enough funding aside so that when that project needs to be reconstructed or maintained, that funding is already set aside for ourselves. And I think that was part of the discussion as it relates to the rate study as well, but.
So that's a great question. Certainly, when we get loans, the state revolving fund loan or WIFIA loan, there are conditions within the loan documents that we have to have a rehab replacement fund. So that's built in. In terms of some of the pay-as-you-go that we've been doing in the past, we haven't necessarily had that. It's sort of when you go over to the accounting side of things, when you have a depreciation expense, you try to fund that depreciation expense in its entirety. We have not done that as an agency. So to your point, we don't have the reserves to continue this on. Moving forward, what we would certainly like to do is two things. One is fund that depreciation expense in its entirety. And number two, doing a straight line depreciation of an asset is one thing. However, looking at it in a more detailed format, knowing that electrical and rotating equipment depreciates much faster, you can break down some of those components, particularly with some of the technically significant projects. A pipeline's one thing. That's easy to depreciate. A treatment process, a little different. So to answer your question, we haven't been doing it, so we don't have a bucket of money to pay for it. We do it for the loans that have the conditions, but we are implementing a change in those accounting procedures melded with engineering. So 15 years down the road, we're not in the same position.
Awesome. Awesome. And it'd be great to maybe have a deeper discussion with the board about that at some point, like what things are where that does exist currently, where are we seeing the prioritization for the projects that need, like the treatment plant, I think is probably the big ticket item. And then, there was this slide that listed the projects. And there was one on, and maybe if we can try to pull that up, that might be helpful. There was one on there for the condition assessment of various interceptor pipelines, and then there was the rehab, replace. My assumption is, it's slide 3, I think.
The longer list.
Slide 3.
Of the,
right
yeah, there.
Yep. Yeah, so there's the condition assessment of various interceptor pipelines, which has got a risk score of 62, and the rehab replacement of those various interceptor pipelines has a score of 30. I'm assuming that we're making a lot of assumptions as it relates to the rehab replacement, because we need that condition assessment to give us a
Just
better
different ones.
better information to make that risk assessment.
Yes. I would say the rehab replacement of various interceptor pipelines, that scoring is probably pretty low.
Yeah.
But in the absence of good condition assessment information, we cannot pinpoint where rehabilitation and replacement is needed. So we need to do that condition assessment first. It's a prerequisite step so that we can identify better where we do that rehab and replacement. We want to be surgical with those projects. We don't just want to replace a miles-long section of pipeline segment if not necessary. And so that condition assessment will be key to identifying better those projects.
But great point, because once you do that condition assessment, maybe it's a 30 still, maybe it's a 90. You don't know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So it could change things. Yeah, you talked about the being able to pay for things in the future. And I think a good example is a couple items that you have before you today, which I was surprised about. The membranes for the pure water plant. Things new. But we've planned, the membranes last 7 years, and lo and behold, we're at 7 years. So time does go by quickly. So we do need to be cognizant of what our funding streams can handle, because
100%.
it does go by quickly.
Yeah. I mean, we're having the same issue in the city of Monterey. We redeveloped the conference center, and already, I mean, I don't even think it's 10 years old yet, and already we're having to reinvest back into it, and you need to do that in order to maintain a quality assets. So I appreciate the acknowledgement, recognition there, and again, I just wanted to just give kudos to the team. I mean, having the Gantt chart, if you will, in there, also doing some color coding with the map and kind of making it easy to understand what parts of the treatment plant are where. So kudos to the team. Appreciate it.
And can I just, so one of the questions in leading up to yesterday's special board meeting that I received from board members was, if we have to reduce our rate increases, what happens? And I think what we're seeing was what would happen. Some of these projects wouldn't occur in the 10 years. So you're pushing them out, like I said, into years 11 through 15. Well, Salinas pump station, other small pump stations, to not do those for the next 15 years, I think could potentially be a real issue when we're trying to keep wastewater in the pipe conveyed to the treatment plant. So, but that's the real effect of the level of service we would see depending on our funding.
Well, especially as the environment gets more competitive, it gets more unpredictable. You look at climate change, impacts of climate change, and what that has to do, the impacts it has on our assets, the costs of everything going up. So, again, thank you.
Further comments? Anyone? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Thompson, for the report, and obviously very important thing to keep an eye on. I really like how this agency does look at globally at these things and over a long period of time. That's not always the case, so I thank you for doing that. We'll go ahead, and this is information only, so we're going to move on to item 6C. This is consider recommending approval of a second amendment to the contract for the AWPF and IWF contracted laboratory testing services. 6C, who do we have?
Good afternoon,
Okay.
Chairman Smith and members of the committee. My name is Olivia Woolery. I'm the laboratory supervisor at Monterey One Water. Laboratory testing services for various Title 22 drinking water panels related to the operation of the Advanced Water Purification Facility and Injection Well Facility are required for regulatory compliance. The Monterey One Water Board approved award of AWPF and IWF laboratory testing services to Eurofins Eaton Analytical, now Eurofins Drinking Water and Wastewater West, on October 28, 2024, for a not to exceed amount of $176,793, which included a 10% contingency for testing services prorated for 7 months ending in June 30th of 2025. This agreement included an option for 4 single-year extensions at M1W's discretion based on vendor performance. In April of 2025, the Monterey One Water Board approved the first single-year extension with no increase in cost per analyses. However, it included services for 12 months, ending in June of 2026, for a not to exceed amount of $235,723, which included a 10% contingency. Eurofins performance continues to meet Monterey One Water's expectations, and therefore, staff wishes to exercise the option to extend the contract for an additional year of service. The second extension was agreed upon by Monterey One Water and Eurofins beginning July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 at a 2.5% price increase from the original contract for a not to exceed amount of $127,570. This cost is significantly lower as the monitoring requirements for the AWPF and IWF was reduced by the new permit, which was adopted in October of 2025. Staff requests that the Recycled Water Committee recommend that the board approve a second amendment to the AWPF and IWF contracted laboratory testing services for various Title 22 drinking water panels to Eurofins Drinking Water and Wastewater West in the not to exceed amount of $127,570, which includes a 10% contingency for additional tests when warranted. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Committee questions? Go ahead and take it out to the public. Anyone online or in chambers wishing to comment? I think chambers is all home team here. So, is there anyone online? Go ahead and bring it back to the board for committee for action.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, motion by the chair, second by the vice chair. Further discussion? I'll take a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Ms. Woolery. Now we're on to 60. That's still Ms.
Which is
Woolery?
me.
Okay, here we go. Go ahead.
So Monterey One Water operates and maintains the Advanced Water Purification Facility and is required to collect daily samples on the combined reverse osmosis feed and effluent streams from each of the 4 RO trains for strontium analysis. Strontium results are used to calculate the daily log reduction value credit to demonstrate pathogen reduction throughout the RO system. This analysis must be performed by an Environmental Laboratory Accreditation Program laboratory, or ELAB, certified in strontium analysis in drinking water, and results must be available within 24 hours of sampling. Since 2021, Monterey One Water has used Monterey Bay Analytical Services for same-day strontium testing services. Monterey One Water staff collects samples in the early morning and relinquishes them to Monterey Bay Analytical Services. Monterey Bay Analytical Services staff analyzes the samples and sends results to Monterey One Water lab and operations staff by noon of the same calendar day. Monterey Bay Analytical Services provides this service every day, including weekends and holidays. Our procurement manual permits a sole source procurement when there is a need for the unique features, applications, or specified goods only available from one vendor. Other laboratories have been investigated and are not satisfactory, and the price for the purchase is determined to be fair and reasonable. Monterey Bay Analytical Services is the only commercial laboratory within 100 miles of the RTP that maintains the required ELAP accreditation and can provide same-day results. Other laboratories that could accommodate the required turnaround time would incur daily courier fees ranging from $450 to $950 per day. Staff requests that Recycled Water Committee recommend that the board adopt a resolution authorizing a contract for AWPF laboratory strontium testing services to Monterey Bay Analytical Services on a sole source basis without formal competitive bidding in the not to exceed amount of $148,800. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Committee questions? Chair Williamson?
This might be an obvious answer. And it seems to make sense usually when we bid out a contractor for the service, but I'm wondering, why can't we do this in-house?
We do not have the equipment required to run that test. So that would require an ICP mass spec that the Monterey One Water Laboratory does not have and therefore does not have accreditation to run.
And what would prevent us from purchasing that equipment?
So why don't you define ICP, ion chromatograph?
I imagine it's
Mass
something like huge,
spectrometer.
big, expensive, right?
Ion coupled plasma mass spectrometry, and it's a
Still don't understand. but-
yeah, it's a large
You don't get it at Costco.
yeah, it's a large piece of automated equipment. It's expensive to not only procure but also to maintain.
Mhm.
And does require a decent amount of footprint that would be challenging to accommodate in our laboratory as is.
How much are we thinking a cost of that would be?
$500,000
Okay.
easily. And then on top of that, we would have to get and maintain the ELAB certification for that analysis.
Good question.
Yeah, yeah.
Good questions. Any other questions?
Oh, MBA at Monterey Bay Analytical, isn't that here?
Yeah, it's on Justin Court.
Yeah, just down the road.
Mhm.
That's what I thought.
That's convenient.
Yes.
Okay, I'll take it out to the public for online public for comment on 6D relating to our testing. All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the committee for action.
Approval?
Second.
It was a tie. We're gonna give it
Give it the wrong.
chair, vice chair. No. Rank. We're gonna go rank.
Go rank.
Rank. Yeah. Okay, we'll take a voice vote on this. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Woolery. We'll go to 6E, and I think it's David Bradley. Mr. Bradley.
Good afternoon, Chair Smith and members of the committee. My name is David Bradley, Operations Supervisor, Monterey One Water. Monterey One Water's advanced water purification facility utilizes reverse osmosis membrane treatment to remove minerals and pathogens. The membranes used in the original treatment trains have reached the end of their useful life, as evidenced by reduced performance as demonstrated by higher pressure differences across the membranes, increased salt in treated water, and overall loss of rejection by the membranes. The membrane procurement is for a complete changeout of 1,155 reverse osmosis membrane elements for the base project, AWPF base project, and also includes 15 spare membrane elements for a total of 1,170. On February 10th, 2026, M1W published a notice inviting bids and conducted a mandatory pre-bid meeting on February 26th, 2026. 4 potential bidders attended the pre-bid meeting. M1W received questions on the bid documents through March 3rd, 2026, and subsequently published addendum number 1 to the bid documents on March 6th, 2026. On March 19, 2026, M1W received 3 bids, 2 which were responsive, one from DDP Specialty for a total cost of $511,800, and one from Tory Membrane USA for a total cost of $486.66, and also one non-responsive bid from Middle Hydronautics. Staff requests that the Recycle Water Committee recommend that the board approve the contract for reverse osmosis system membrane procurement for the advanced water purification facility in the not to exceed amount of $511,800. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Committee questions on this? We'll take it out, check with the online public if they'd like to comment on item 6E.
I have
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, hold on a sec. We'll just close public comment. I didn't see any hands. Go ahead.
just for either Matt or David, the membrane technology, is that changed at all? Or is there any new technologies that are coming out to replace that
I think-
membrane?
The way the technology, as far as I know, that changes is really trying to maximize the amount of maybe filter or permeate you can get out of membrane. making larger permeate spacers and, just trying to maximize the flow through you can get. I think on this bid procurement, the three bidders, one that was non-responsive are pretty much the industry standard for this kind of treatment process of indirect potable reuse. But as far as I think these are at the forefront of the technology currently.
But you're right, Kent. There's a lot of research going on, not only at universities, but like Lawrence Livermore Labs and things like that on membrane technology, the materials used, all that sort of stuff. So I think as an industry, we will see changes in the next 5 years. Whether that's reflected necessarily on future bids or not, we'll see.
Taking over our minds.
Are we
I'll make a
live?
motion to approve.
Okay. Ron?
Second.
Okay. Anything, Ron? You want to have any comments or you good?
Yeah, I mean, did we put money away for this?
Yes. So this is one of those ones of putting money into the Pure Water Monterey funds to knowing that we'd have replacement.
And it's funny because the AWPF and it's been 7 years already, right?
Yeah.
Where did the time go?
It's like when you buy a car and like 20 years later, it's like, oh, my new car. It's the same thing. I was shocked when I saw this.
Oh my God. All right, we're going to take a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Bradley. And we have one more for you here.
Yes. This would be, I'll start reading.
Item 6F.
Monterey One Water's advanced water purification facility utilizes membrane filtration to remove solids, organics, and pathogens from ozonated secondary effluent. The membranes used in the original treatment trains have reached the end of their useful life, as evidenced by reduced performance, as demonstrated by higher pressure differences across the membranes, more frequent repairs to membrane fibers, and a slight decline in direct integrity test scores. The membrane procurement is for a complete changeout of the 510 ultra filtration modules from the AWPF base project. On February 10, 2026, M1W published a notice inviting bids and conducted a mandatory pre-bid meeting on February 26, 2026. 4 potential bidders attended the pre-bid meeting, and M1W received questions on the bid documents through March 3rd, 2026. And subsequently published addendum number 1 to the bid documents on March 6, 2026. On March 19, 2026, M1W received 2 responsive bids for the membrane filtration procurement contract, one from Tory Membrane USA for a total cost of $1,055,241.23, and one from Sinor Water America for a total cost of $1,234,095. Staff requests that the Recycle Water Committee recommend that the board approve a contract for membrane filtration system membrane procurement for the advanced water purification facility in the not to exceed amount of $1,055,241.23. Again, I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bradley. Any questions, committee questions? Okay.
Yeah, so this is all part of the system. So the membrane on the first item was from a different company. I can't remember the name of
DuPont, it ends up being.
Yeah, and so will there be any warranty issues in terms of using another manufacturer's membrane with this particular system?
No, there's no language for that, and I think the warranty should stand no matter which RO element is in front of it. So,
Anything else? Well, check with the public if we have any comment on the final item 6F. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the board for action.
Motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Swanee, second by Amino. Any further discussion? Seeing no one, take a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Bradley. And we'll talk to Mr. Shudo for staff reports, number 7.
None for me. None.
Okay. All right. We'll go on to item 8, committee member reports, comments. Keep up the good work. That's my only comment. If no one else, meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.